5, 4, 3, 2, track 3.
Live in high definition from WTAT in Charleston, this is the Fox 24 News at 10.
Right now, a murder suspect goes through bond court. What he had to say to the victim's family tonight.
It's been a very foggy evening here across the low country, and now we start to look towards our south, and our next round of rain is headed in, and it's going to be a wet start to the weekend. More on that in your forecast tonight.
Another deadly shooting at a Colony County nightclub. What the new sheriff has to say about possibly shutting it down.
Good evening, I'm Raphael James.
And I'm Kiki Collins. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us tonight. Well, some rainy conditions hitting the low country all day long.
That's right. So rainy, in fact, that I'm understanding that they have redirected some flights that were coming into Charleston due to the weather, Brad. So lots of bad stuff out there.
And it's only going to get worse, Raphael and Kiki, as we go into the overnight. We picked up about 3/4 of an inch of rain earlier today from that first round, and it looks like we may actually double that as we go into the overnight and into the day tomorrow. Look at all the rain that's into South Georgia, and look at the direction it's headed. Northeast. You see some reds and some yellows. We can't rule out some heavy rainfall later on as we continue on through the overnight, and at least for the first part of our Saturday. Just a few showers just getting into parts of the low country at the moment, but the bulk of the rain is still a couple hours away. But once it gets here, it is going to be a very wet night. And also, we're dealing with some dense fog. Look at this. This is looking down from the Round Holiday Inn. You can barely see across the Ashley River right there. And fog has been very dense. Visibility is down below a mile across parts of the region. Otherwise, it's cool, call it cool, 49 degrees of temperature, but we've got a wide range of temperatures all around the region. Look at this, low 40s St. George, 46 Moncks Corner. It's again 49 here in Charleston, but then you get south of that warm front, it's 50 in Edison, 52 in Beaufort, and Foley not too bad at 55. So a wide range of temperatures as we continue on through the overnight. But the main concern is going to be that rain. Heavy at times overnight, right into your morning, 57 for your Saturday start. I think we'll see a break around late morning, early afternoon. Mostly cloudy, 62. Then we could see another round of showers with the cold front portion of this whole big storm system. The good news, Kiki and Raphael, looks like it's out of here tomorrow night, setting us up for a decent Sunday, at least a chance to dry out with no rain in the forecast.
At least we'll have some sunshine this weekend.
Yeah, we'll salvage Sunday, I think.
Yeah, probably a good idea. If you don't really have to be out there, maybe stay home and do something indoors.
Stay home. Good indoor day, good movie day tomorrow.
Yeah, all right, Brad. Thanks a lot.
Well, a murder suspect issues an apology to the family of a teen he's being accused of shooting to death.
Shortly after, 23-year-old Terrence Lance's bond was withheld on those murder charges. Our Mark Davenport joins us tonight live in the studio. Now, Mark, did the victim's family accept his apology?
Raphael, the grandmother of 19-year-old Rodriguez Henderson, believes Lance's apology was sincere, but she also said whatever argument the two had, it didn't have to end this way. Henderson was found lying in the yard of a home off Saratoga Road in North Charleston yesterday. Neighbors say they heard gunshots and saw people running away from the area. The 19-year-old was taken to MUSC, but soon after passed away. His grandmother, Helen Green, was at his side.
People really don't know what to do right now. You know, I have to be strong for my grandchildren. If I lose it, I don't know what to do.
The suspect, Lance, turned himself into police 12 hours after the shooting took place, and investigators believe the shooting stemmed from an earlier argument between the two men. For now, Lance will remain behind bars. Back to you.
All right, Mark, thanks. And according to state law enforcement, Lance has prior convictions on several drug charges. He's also served prison time for a parole violation. Now, going after gun violence, that's the goal of the Colony County Solicitor. On Monday, Solicitor Duffy Stone is going to be holding a news conference in front of the courthouse in Walterboro to talk about a new strategy for prosecuting gun violence throughout the 5-county judicial circuit. Covers Allendale, Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties.
The announcement of the gun violence initiative comes the day after a Walterboro man was shot dead at the Colleton County nightclub. The suspect, Larry Henderson Jr., surrendered to police tonight. Deadly shooting happened yesterday at the Chase Lounge on Proctor Street. Police reporter Huck Jacobs tells us about the club's recent history of violence and how the new sheriff plans on dealing with it.
There is no sign on the building to let people know this is the Chase Lounge. Holiday County deputies are very familiar with the nightclub.
Oh.
They've been there many times. Last night, gunshots rang out inside the club, killing 52-year-old Leon Cochran Jr. of Baltimore.
Some type of argument broke out, and several shots were fired, and the victim was hit multiple times.
Sheriff's deputies said the victim was actually able to talk to them before he died.
That's why I didn't think
Investigators say the suspect is 48-year-old Larry Henderson Jr. of Baltimore. Deputies have a murder warrant waiting for him. Authorities believe Henderson and Cochran knew each other. We've learned the night spot also has been a trouble spot. The sheriff's office says within the last year, there have been 4 shootings at Chase Lock. Last night's murder, an attempted murder in January, a murder in September of last year, and an attempted murder in March of last year. With the exception of last night's murder, all of the violence at the club happened in the parking lot. The sheriff says there are no security guards at the club.
We have been patrolling the area and doing random walkthroughs throughout the club.
But deputies can't be there 24/7, so the sheriff says trying to close down the club could be an option. It would start with going after their liquor license.
One way or another, we will do what we have to do to stop violence and get under control.
And hoping his deputies won't have to deal with yet another shooting at the lounge.
Art Jacobs reporting tonight again. The sheriff says Henderson called them and promised to turn himself in this morning, and he ended up surrendering tonight. North Charleston police still looking for the person who shot and killed a man walking on Dorchester Road. New information from a police report shows officers had to detain one of the victim's family members. Officers say that person kicked a cop in the leg. The Charleston County coroner identified the victim as 22-year-old Miguel Snipe. Police say he left Charlie O's bar and was walking across the street when shots were fired around 2:30 Thursday morning.
A former Hampton County Sheriff's deputy charged after authorities say he molested a male student. Grand jury indicted 52-year-old Larry Hayward for criminal sexual conduct with a minor between 11 and 14 years old and committing misconduct in office. Authorities say Hayward was a school resource officer at the time of the alleged incident. He was fired after the student came forward claiming he was abused several times between August 2010 and December 2012. State law enforcement is investigating.
Joint Base Charleston and the Charleston Aviation Authority respond to FAA documents that show Charleston's air traffic control tower may have to cut some overnight hours. The hours would be cut if automatic government budget cuts go into effect March the 1st. Joint Base Charleston shares some facilities with Charleston International. The spokesman told us they're aware of the FAA statement and will not speculate on the impact. Both the base and the aviation authorities say they will let the public know if services end up being affected.
After admitting to doping last month, Lance Armstrong now facing a legal battle against the Justice Department. Fox Business correspondent Rich Edson has details.
Federal government joins a civil lawsuit against disgraced cyclist Lance Armstrong. The Justice Department accuses Armstrong of defrauding the U.S. Postal Service by taking its sponsorship money. At the same time, he was using performance-enhancing drugs. In a statement, a U.S. attorney says, quote, Lance Armstrong and his cycling team took more than $30 million from the U.S. Postal Service based on their contractual promise to play fair and abide by the rules. Armstrong and the government had discussed a settlement, but the cyclist lawyers say the talks failed because they disagree about whether the Postal Service was damaged. In a statement, an Armstrong attorney says, quote, the Postal Service's own studies show that the service benefited tremendously from its sponsorship, benefits totaling more than $100 million. Legal experts have different opinions.
He was fraudulent with the post office. Under the False Claims Act, he submitted something saying, I don't do drugs, I do nothing. Then he's lying the whole time and he's suing other people. They absolutely have a case under the False Claims Act.
I don't think that the USPS has any real chance of winning a trial. At best, if they get a settlement, they're going to get a very small fraction of money here because the truth is, while Lance was being sponsored by the post office, they were making millions off of him.
Armstrong's former teammate Floyd Landis filed the original lawsuit. Under the False Claims Act, Landis, a whistleblower, can receive a percentage of any money recovered from Armstrong. In Washington, Rich Edson, Fox Business.
Earthquake-proof sound walls for some neighborhoods along Dorchester Road, what some homeowners in the area are saying.
Plus the blood test that can detect diseases like Alzheimer's 10 to 15 years before there are any symptoms.
And how tea can benefit your brain.